gentlemen, an honor to see you.
Yeah.
Good to meet you, Jake.
Obviously, Richard is no longer with us, but I was wondering if you could imagine sitting in a theater with him and watching this movie. And when the movie's over, you could lean over and say, what did you think of this part? What is the part of the movie you'd like to ask him about?
Wow, there's a lot of parts. I think the stuff with him at the bombing, I'd be most interested in, because that was such a chaotic moment. I wonder, because we all have revisionist history trying to remember things. I wonder what sticks out most to him of that night and how he tried to handle such an unimaginable situation. Yeah.
Yeah, I would. I would probably think in terms of what it's like to all of a sudden be 2 or 3 days later being told that you're a suspect as the person who set the bomb in the park. And I think that's got to be one of the biggest breath loser in the whole thing. To imagine one minute he and his mother are in happy land, and the next minute they're in tragedy.
Not even a suspect. It was like as if everyone had already decided he's it. He did it. It's done.
Tom Brokaw was saying you don't have enough to convict him, but he could definitely stand trial. And it's like that was like day one or something of the investigation.
Mr. Eastwood, you've done such an amazing job of telling the story of so many people's lives, whether it's Richard Jewell or Sully or American Sniper. Yeah. And I know you're not going to like the idea of this, but I was wondering if you'll just play with me for a second. If someone were going to make a movie about you and your life story, what is the period of your life that you think would make for the best movie on the big screen?
There's nothing in my life that would be. I don't know. I mean, I can't figure that. I once rode a plane into the ocean in Northern California when I was 21 years old, and as a passenger, it was a military plane, but I was a passenger, and that was a little story that was kind of hectic, because for a 21-year-old, you think this is my ending, this is my demise, and I'm just now turning 21.
I have to say, Mr. I love that you say, "Oh, my life wouldn't be a good story." There's that one time I crashed into the ocean in a plane, but other than that, and then I went on to win.
Amongst other
things. Yeah, amongst other. And then I had a few other things go on in my life. I would absolutely watch a movie about that, sir. By the way,
it might have to be a limited series.
Yeah, you know what? I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Bring
it
on.
Might be short. It would be very short.
Yeah. Richard Jewell didn't sign up for any of this. There was never a moment where he felt like he was ever going to need to defend himself against people lying about who he was as a person. I'm curious, when you're an actor and you come into this business, do you have to accept that people are going to just write things about you and that some of them aren't going to be true? Do you feel like you get the right to even defend yourself?
I think, it's changed so much because you've had different eras of scrutiny. The social media is way more aggressive than whatever was before social media. I think the key is to try to just always tell the truth and to not take things too personally, and to know that some people are hurting, they themselves are hurting. And so some of the things they say aren't even full truths. They're just unloading because the internet or because the paper. Yeah. So I've had some people give me good advice. Justin Long, who's a buddy of mine I met through Sam, Justin told me, he said, you can't respond to all that stuff, man. You got to know that you just got to keep chugging along. That's never going to go away.
Yeah, just keep trucking.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good life. I'm going to stitch that into a pillow. And Paul, obviously you've had so many amazing performances before this film and so many other different films, but I would imagine, is it fair to say that this is sort of the first big starring role that you've had, and the shot was given to you by Mr. Eastwood?
Yes, certainly. No, I have been given a number of breaks in my career. People from Dustin Lance Black to Craig Gillespie to Spike Lee have really opened the door for me. This was more like, this wasn't a door opening. Yeah. This was like, hey, we're taking the realty sign out. This is your home.
This is your home.
Yeah. So it was incredible. I'm forever in debt, not just for that obvious loud opportunity, but the fact that we had so much fun making it, and I made new friends and collaborators on it.
Well, to that point, Mr. Eastwood, I'm wondering if you were going to look back at your career, who is the person that you would give credit to for giving you your first big shot, where you felt like, oh my God, I'm here now?
Boy, I don't know, because it came along. I was a bit player. I was a contract player at Universal when I was very young, and that was the first thing I had done. But they didn't really use you in pictures. You could maybe once in a while you play a line here and there, and then it kind of drifted through all that period of the '50s, and then didn't really get anything going until actually until 1960. So that was then that was a change in life, because I had a steady job, just a paying job, because there was no such thing in the movie business. You get a pretty good paycheck for a day here and there, but you got to have it to be. I thought it was an amazing deal. I was in hog heaven.
Was that Gunsmoke?
No,
what was that?
Rawhide.
Rawhide. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Same company though, CBS, and the same producers and everything.
Yeah.
Well, it was truly an honor to meet you, and this moment is never lost on me anytime I get to speak with you, sir. Guys, what an honor to see you all again.
Hey, thanks for having us.
So I know that all of you before this film have been in movies based on true stories, whether it's Frost Nixon or $1 Million Arm or
Yes.
countless, Blindside, countless others. When you're on the set of a movie that's based on a true story, does it feel different than sets that aren't?
Yeah, there's a responsibility, I think, that you have, and that weighs on you a little bit. Yeah.
This one especially, I think, because Bobby is still alive and it's still very raw for her even after all these years. So I was very concerned, but we found out that she loves the film, and so that's the best. That's the best accolade we could get.
Have you ever been a part of a movie that's based on a true story and then found out that anyone involved didn't like the movie?
Good question. Let me think.
I don't think I have.
I think I play a lot of dead people.
Mr. Rockwell, you have
Yes,
a great,
yes.
great quote in the movie. You say, "Don't become an asshole. A
Yes.
little power can turn a person into a monster." And I've had the pleasure of interviewing you all before, and you've all been very kind to me. You've always been such great interviews. When you got into this business and you get this position of power, what kept you grounded? What kept you from becoming a monster?
Doesn't Bill Murray have the 2-year pass? If a friend of his gets famous, there's a 2-year pass. You can be an asshole for 2 years, and then after 2 years, you're done. You're expired on that.
Mine was, it was right after I won an Academy Award, and somebody asked for my autograph. Later on that night, I went out and took my little dog out, and I couldn't find anything to clean up after him, and I found a piece of paper on the ground, had my autograph on it.
No.
Yes. So that was a great moment of humility. And I disagree, power. I don't feel like I have power. I'm a working stiff.
Yeah, I think that's kind of it. You realize so much of it is ephemeral and is subjective, and if you're mature at all in any sense of, and have any sort of sense of your place in the global community, you realize, hey man, having 1 million Instagram people isn't a thing. It doesn't count.
It means nothing.
It means nothing
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things.
Well, to your point, because I love that story about after winning an Oscar, you've won Oscars, you've won Emmys. What's the day after? Golden Globe. I mean, you could put them all together on a giant table and it would look impressive. What is the day after like? Because the night of it happens and you're feeling it and everyone's coming up and congratulating you. Does that moment die off pretty quickly, or do you get to kind of ride that wave for a little bit?
I got to see you right after you won yours at the
Yeah.
party.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's fun. I think it's fun when you know somebody that wins and you can celebrate with them. And
Yeah.
the day after is like the day after. You
Yeah.
got to get up and take a shower and
Back to
brush
work.
your teeth. And
I put my Oscar right on the chest of drawers next to my bed, so when I woke up, I could see it.
Did you really?
Yeah, I really did.
Oh, that's cool.
I did.
That's cool.
My arm was really sore because I kept going like this all night long.
Yeah. Your one arm just got a
I
lot
was
of
like,
muscles in that one.
hey.
One
I was
like shredded arm.
Holy crap, it's like
I
8
would
pounds.
wear that thing on a chain around my neck like Flavor Flav. I would just walk around and just show everybody. I can't imagine what it must have been like for him he didn't sign up for any of this, to have someone write things about him that aren't true, because he didn't sign up for this life. When you get into this business, is there an expectation where you do sign up for that? Like, are you aware that people are going to write things about me and they might not be true? Do you get to defend yourself against that?
Well, for me, starting out, I'm a little bit older than these guys, just a little bit. And when I started to do press for Misery, it was a real shock for me, how cruel some people could be. And also, over the years, how it's evolved, that we're now salesmen. You know, that we now go out, which is great when you're in a film like this, and it's Clint Eastwood, and it's a fabulous Billy Ray script, and with these dudes, you know. So, but it's been an education, an evolution for me.
I don't think anybody signs up for this, which is sort of
You mean like
unsubstantiated
No
rumor
offense,
No,
campaign.
no, please.
the media is important, so.
No, I mean, no one signs up to be ridiculed and lied about and have rumors and gossip and anything spread around or followed around or whatever. Like, no one signs up for that. That's not why I went to school to be an actor.
And Richard, after all of this happened, it wasn't just, they said front page is Bubba and talking about how fat he was, that he was, you know, homosexual, all these horrible things about him that did not have anything to do with what they thought he was charged for. And that, I mean, to take a man who was so vigilant and wanted to help people, that's the tragedy. It was the opposite of who he was.
And as we wrap up, obviously Richard is no longer with us anymore, but I was wondering if you could imagine, if you could sit in a theater next to him and watch this movie, and when it's over, lean over and go, what did you think of this part? What is the part you'd most want to ask him about?
God, I don't know. That's a good question.
That is a good question. I think I would, if I would say anything to him after that, I'd say, you know, buddy, there's going to be a plaque in that park with your
Yeah.
name on it telling the truth of what happened, which
Yeah.
is, in fact, there will be. They're going to dedicate that plaque very
Love that.
soon.
And remember, he died with a smile on his face.
Like he lived.
I love that. I love that. It makes me wonder how many other heroes are out there that we haven't even heard about that need movies made about them. Because if there's one, there's probably 1,000. So, guys, every time I talk to you, you're always so kind to me, and I really thank you for always
Thank
being great.
you.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah. Have you
Cheers.
watched Castle Rock yet?
Yes.
Oh my God, how good is it?
I love her. I
She's a-
love